13 of the How to Make Money Online 30-Day Challenge. Today's topic is going to be influencer marketing. This topic is such an interesting topic because I know there's different ways to look at what actually is an influencer, what's labeled an influencer. It doesn't have to always be, a celebrity with like really big, following, that kind of thing, millions of following. There are different stages, I think, of influencer marketing, and it just grows. It just gets bigger the more and more people out there. I think there's things called nano influencers, micro influencers, and we'll kind of get into all that a little bit later. But let's do our overview. Just want to welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate it. So, how is everybody doing out there? Hey, sweetums. So good to see you. Thank you so much for joining. How you doing? Are you staying cool out there? I decided to switch up my drink a little bit. So, I'm drinking cherry. What is it? It's cherry 7 Up. So, we'll see what happens. This may or may not be a good choice. So, we'll see. Oh, that I feel for you guys. That it's brutal. I think there's like, I know it's exceptionally hot in some places in the States, but I feel like there's like a heat wave maybe going on kind of all over. But I know it's brutal in certain places, and it's almost unbearable. So, okay, so let's kind of talk about, kind of get into like the definition. So, influencer marketing, dang, SPF, cooling towel, sleeves, umbrella, all that, and it's still hot. I know how that is. Yeah, I definitely have lived in the you know hot places in a desert before, desert climate before, and it's been hot for sure. So I hope you're able to find some relief and hopefully get cool as quick as you can. So okay, so let's kind of go over like what influencer marketing is, kind of like high level, like how we always start these live streams. So influencer marketing is a type of social media marketing that involves not only endorsements, but it could be product placements, could be sponsorships from influencers or individuals that have a dedicated social media following. So they're viewed as experts in their niche. So it doesn't have to come across as like, people that just have millions of followers. I mean, there's definitely different levels of influencers, and we'll go into those definitions here in a little bit. But I know when you think about being an influencer, it's all about just celebrities and people that are, in the spotlight and in Hollywood and that kind of thing. But there's actually influencers that are in different niches and different kind of topics all over, different platforms. So, which makes it really cool because it seems a little more attainable when it's not just, you're not just focusing on like celebrities, that kind of thing. So, when we talk about influencer marketing, like let's kind of get into like the different types. So, the first type I think everybody kind of thinks about is like sponsored content. So meaning like influencers who would create content featuring like a brand or a product, or maybe some sort of a post that they kind of show off. Yep, yep, exactly, Sweetum. So it's like when brands and do collabs and sponsorships. Yep, with influencers. Yep, exactly. So I think that's the most common form of influencer marketing, I think. Um, so here's a good, like, really good example. So an Instagram post is basically showing an influencer using like a skincare product with a caption that basically shouts out to the brand or has a hashtag and basically promotes the brand itself. So I think that's kind of like the absolute basic, kind of simple form of influencer marketing that we think about. Um, But, it doesn't always have to be about sponsored content. It could be about one of our favorite topics here on this channel is influencer, is affiliate marketing. So the influencers or the individuals could share like their own unique referral links or codes that offer discounted rates to products or services, or like a special deal to their followers. So I know we've all seen that before. We all watch YouTubers and they say, "Hey, if you want, check this out, this program." Hey, King, how you doing? It's so good to see you. Thanks so much for joining. I love it when you say back again. I love that. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's so good to have you back. So you didn't miss anything. We're just kind of talking about influencer marketing and getting started, and just going over some of the definitions to kind of get like a high level. So welcome. So the next up, so the first thing we talked about was sponsorships, King, and next we're talking about affiliate marketing. So basically, influencers can share their own unique referral link, and we've seen it before, right? Where you know, YouTuber X says, "Hey, I really couldn't plan my travel trip to across the world without this certain productivity tool, and if you use my link in the description, you can save 20% by going to XYZ slash." Save with me or whatever, so like offering a deal basically. So that would be an example of affiliate marketing. So the next example would be product reviews. So this is similar to sponsorships, but in a sense, a product review is kind of what it sounds like. So the influencer would actually physically have the product in their hand, and they would either review the product if it's a physical product, or if it's a service, they would review the service. Maybe perhaps flip the screen and kind of go over what the service entails, what it kind of what's what all is with the service, like kind of like some of the pros and the cons and the features and stuff. Um, and they're going to definitely give you their opinion. And usually at the very end, it's going to say, "Hey, don't forget, check these guys out if you're interested in this product or this service." So, for example, if a blogger, there's like a tech blogger, and they have a new gadget that they want to review, and they're discussing like a pros list and a cons list and maybe how to use it. Maybe they created like a little video in order to kind of explain, you know, this is how you set it up or this kind of thing. Maybe here's some of the advantages. So that would be a product review, um, basically a subcategory of influencer marketing. Okay, so Sweetums asks, are the sponsorship rates dependent on number of subscribers? I would say for sure, yes, it definitely is Sweetums, and I've seen it before where, there's not usually like there's some sort of a threshold. So maybe like on the low end, it could be possibly 10 to 20,000 for like a micro or like a nano influencer, and then maybe anything from like 100,000 subscribers to maybe like 500, and then probably a million plus. So definitely the individual themselves, they can set the rate as far as what they're trying to command for the sponsorship, or the brand could come at them and say, okay, we know you have this large audience, let's just say 500,000 followers plus, and we're willing to give you this many products for free if you try them out and you do a product review, and you basically do like a live version of reviewing these products and getting as many people as you can to sign up. Then we'll give you like a link. So um, I definitely think it's directly tied to the number of subscribers, and kind of similarly, if you even get a sponsorship in the first place, because a lot of these places, a lot of the bigger companies and brands, they usually won't even, you know, at least in my experience, won't even talk to you unless you have at least 100,000 or more subscribers, like a decent sized brand, that's going to give you something substantial. So that's just another way to, in terms of maybe getting free products or potentially earning another another form of income. So that could be a side hustle as well, because you're already creating content. So you might as well, if you can have brands that reach out to you, you might as well utilize that or leverage these brands that are willing to send you stuff in order to test out or to promote or to give away, that kind of thing. So this next one I think is one of my favorites. I think it's such a cool idea, and as long as you're in line with like kind of the morals and the ethics and getting behind the company itself, is being a brand ambassador. So this basically is a long-term partnership where influencers consistently promote the brand over an extended period of time. And what that could look like is, let's just say it is maybe you're looking at a fitness channel or a fitness influencer, and they're going to promote something like maybe a set of weights, or it could be a certain supplement to help you build muscle, or it could be possibly like dumbbells or like a yoga mat, or maybe a certain type of shoe, something really that you could really like has longevity and you could really like stretch out as far as keeping it going, keeping the relationship and the collaboration going. Um, and that way, I think it actually works best for like, maybe the fitness niche, or like maybe potentially like cooking, cooking or baking niche, because that's something that never really kind of slows down. I mean, you can always think of new ways to integrate a fitness product or a fitness channel, together. So, how you guys doing so far? I want to make sure that we're all on the same page here. Yeah, 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 definitely, Sweetums. Yeah, personalized vitamins. Excuse me, I've definitely seen those. Yep. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, I think some of the stuff I'm just wondering if, like, to what extent does the brand itself, obviously they sell these things on the side, or as like their main product, but I wonder as far as like, a couple days ago we had some folks talk about like private labeling or white labeling. I wonder if they would make a custom label or a custom design for that individual. So whoever the influencer is, I just wonder if they would put them on the label or put some sort of marking um, kind of marketing, I guess, strategy that kind of is best for both, for the brand and the influencer. So I always kind of wondered that. I've seen that before, but I haven't really seen anybody go like really way out and actually put the influencer like aside from on like the marketing materials, the actual like promo stuff or the social media posts, that kind of thing. Oh, that's cool. That's cool, Sweetum. So yeah, you take this quiz and it tailors to whatever vitamins for your deficiencies. Oh, got it. Okay. So the ones you've seen is one specific brand. Okay. So you have the brand, and then you have these little mini, I guess, kind of quizzes or things that the company itself sets up to kind of draw people in, and that way they can kind of see, okay, maybe what vitamin might tend to be more beneficial for them if this is what they've chosen like through the quiz. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And I know in general, in a sense, people really like quizzes. It doesn't matter like how old you are, like going through and taking quizzes. Kind of like when you think about like BuzzFeed, you kind of go through and you take these different quizzes. I think it's kind of the same thing. It kind of pulls you back in, almost in a sense, kind of brings you back like a little bit of like nostalgia feeling, but not necessarily like to get a grade on a quiz, more of like just the act of, it's kind of fun, it's engaging to kind of go through this thing and, be able to, kind of figure this out. And then at the end, it kind of spits out, what is the result. So you have to kind of keep in mind, all right, what am I doing this for? Is it going to give me, is there some benefit for me to fill this out? So yeah, there's definitely different ways that you can approach marketing, whatever it is, if it's a product or a service, if you're an influencer and a brand, both like for that matter. So, okay, this next kind of, I guess, role or, potential marketing strategy for an influencer is pretty strange. I'm curious if you guys have seen this before. So it's basically to take over. So the influencers temporarily take over or take control of the brand's social media account to post content and interact with the brand's audience. So basically like kind of like a guest DJ in a sense, or like a guest a guest host on a TV show or that kind of thing. Um, so, for example, a travel influencer might take over, hotel brands, Instagram, post comments, and share their experiences, kind of staying at the property. Have you guys seen that before, or have you heard of that? where they do kind of like a takeover. I mean, I think it's pretty cool. I think you definitely have to be on your toes as far as where they're taking over, like, physically. Are they sitting at their computer at their own house? I mean, because how do you really monitor what they do and don't say? I mean, I'm sure there's things, like, there's some kind of contract that says, obviously, you can't purposely bash our brand, and you can't just, drop, um, cursing, that kind of thing. Yeah, yeah, I was gonna say that too. I would be a little nervous about that as far as, like, taking over. So I almost think, like, you have to be, like, in the same physical, like, space, so whoever's on the social media can, like, monitor it, or kind of have like a panic button. I don't think that exists, but have like a panic button where you can be like, okay, drop the access, freeze it, we don't want them to do it, they're already doing some damage. So yeah, I don't know about that one. It sounds cool, I think, on paper, but I think at the same time it is a little scary. Just having somebody like take over, unless you really know them, unless maybe the influencer is not like super big, maybe just in the tens of thousands, and you're looking at like a smaller kind of company, and there's a little more, I guess, kind of control and self-control. So yeah, that's true. You know what? I'm pretty sure. Yes. There he is, Damien, and welcome back. So good to have you here. Yeah, I think you're right, Sweetums. I think there is a contract that they would sign that they could sue if they just get all wily and crazy. So I'm pretty sure that they gotta be able to pull the reins on something. So, yeah. Hey, Damien, we're just talking about influencer marketing. You didn't miss much. We were just talking about some of the different aspects, how somebody could actually be an influencer, and some of the different techniques that they could use. I'll just go over them real quick. So, like sponsor content, we talked about affiliate marketing, product reviews. Um, how did I miss giveaways? Okay, I think I jumped right over give. All right, let's back up here. I don't know how I jumped over this in my notes. Okay, that's okay. It doesn't matter what order it's in. So another one of the tasks, or kind of like the benefits of being an influencer, you might be able to, like, create or participate in a giveaway or like a contest. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely Sweetums, that's for sure. I mean, and that's something that I think, I'm sure the influencer knows going in, like, okay, we're not gonna mess around. We have to make sure that this is on the straight and narrow, and nobody's kind of going crazy on this thing. So yeah, that was, we're Damien, we're talking about takeovers, like where an influencer temporarily takes over the social media account for the brand. um I don't know, yeah, we definitely think that could go south pretty quickly. So yeah, no worries, no problem, you're all good. I'm just happy you're here. No problem at all, Damien. Yeah. So, and you can just feel free with any, even if, it's a comment or something that you kind of want to, provide. That's awesome. That's always welcome. So, um, okay. So another aspect of being an influencer and the brand kind of relationship would be setting up a giveaway or a contest. So influencers basically could host a giveaway or a contest, um, kind of like requiring followers to like, comment, or maybe even like share in order to enter. So you know how they have those kind of prerequisites or pre-requirements in order to, hey, if you want to be a part of this contest or this giveaway, all you got to do is sign up, leave your email, share it, and whatever. Follow us on every social media under the sun. So it's those kind of things, that would be something that I think would be, that's really popular too. I mean, a giveaway and a contest. I'm just wondering, like, as far as like the giveaway goes, I mean, is that something that, whose pocket does that come out of? Probably maybe the brand. So love it, love it. What kind of what kind of milk are we talking about? And that is that whole milk, skim milk? Yeah. No, Damien. Yesterday we were on and we were saying if Damien was here, man, he'd be trying to bump us up, get us up to 20 likes. We were like 13 or 14 kind of thing. So we were just kind of, me and Sweetums were like laughing to ourselves, like, there we go. Like milk. All right, I got you. Yep. That's awesome. Yeah, thank you. I always appreciate that, Damien, very much. So, okay. So next, so we talked about takeovers. Obviously, that could be a hot topic. That could turn south very quickly. And so, event coverage is the next one. So, this might potentially be one of the biggest, like, I guess, in order to like get this like to actually happen and to plan it and to have all the pieces come together. Can you imagine like just planning an event, and whether it be like an influencer like attending an event to kind of share their experience, like in real life, or like talking in real life, or through like post event content. So like if they're kind of doing a recap, but the best thing I could think of here is like a convention or some sort of like an expo or some sort of like a speaking engagement. Um, but there's also an opportunity for influencers to do like, I don't know like really how they would do a meet and greet unless the brand itself set it up and then obviously invited them as a special guest. But yeah, I think that one's kind of interesting to me. Like, what do you guys think about like event coverage as far as like an influencer like not only attending an event, but maybe being the ones to actually set it up? Like, that could be interesting as far as, how big it is, kind of putting a cap on like, all right, we can't let this many people in, that kind of thing, whatever it means. Hey, Earning Empire, how you doing? So good to have you here. Thank you for joining. Oh, no, no problem at all. No worries. All right, we got up to 10. Then we got that milk going. So, all right, so let's talk about the best way. Actually, you know what? Before we go any further, I want to see what you guys think. So, as far as influencers, and it doesn't necessarily. What I'm going to ask is doesn't necessarily have to be like a celebrity. Is there somebody that you guys out there that you guys follow or that you like or that you respect, as far as like who you would consider an influencer? Yeah, earnings empire. So for influencer marketing, is it about us being the influencer or using an influencer? I would say a little bit of both. And mainly what we kind of talked about early on, like so far, is basically finding an influencer or not finding, but using an influencer, how they would kind of conduct, you know, um, business with a brand. But we're going to get into developing a strategy for you to become an influencer as well. So we're going to kind of touch on both, and they may kind of interlock at times, but I think it's a little bit of both. So not only becoming an influencer ourselves, but also like reaching out to an influencer and how they would actually approach it. They would approach like a brand or like some kind of brand deal, like sponsorship. So yeah, so who do you guys like? Anybody out there want to share any influences? Um, like anything at all as far as like, it doesn't really matter who it is. Hey, Dragon Rider, thanks for popping in. Really appreciate it. Great to have you here. So I would say for me, I think in terms of influencer, like kind of in the financial space, um, I would say probably somebody like Graham Stephan, to me would be like an influencer. He's got like 3 or 4 million followers. Um, just somebody who seems like they know their stuff. They've commanded basically an audience, and they're able to kind of produce content that consistently provides benefit and value, and they have like a loyal following. So, sorry guys, I'm just looking at my notes real quick. Okay, there we go. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, good call, Sweetums. I think that that might be one of the premier, I think, influencers. When people think about influencers outside of necessarily like celebrities, um, I think you're right. I think Mr. Beast is definitely up there for sure. Um, somebody who definitely, has gone like his story is like actually really cool. Like basically started playing video games, like streaming video games like on his YouTube channel, and then wanted to grow and grow and grow, and then ultimately kind of morphed into what he is today and the kind of content that he produces, and deciding he wanted to make every video something that somebody would be willing to or wanting to watch and like craving to watch it. So yeah, that's a great example of an influencer that, I mean, in a sense is not your traditional celebrity, but still somebody who has not only taken YouTube by storm, but also been an incredible inspiration, I think, for other YouTubers out there. Just, if nothing else, the work ethic, the morals, the ethics, I mean, the generosity, the philanthropy. I mean, just everything about this dude on the surface sounds good. So, sounds positive, definitely. So, I think we are ready to dive into the best way to get started with influencer marketing. Yeah. Oh, that's cool, Sweetums. Yeah. So, I wonder how like I wonder how they do it as far as like, print on demand YouTubers like getting sponsored by Canva and Kittle. I wonder if that means, is that more of like an kind of on the affiliate marketing side of things to where they get a referral link and then they can promote that and then they get a cut of whoever signs up. I wonder like kind of how they do that. Or um, I wonder if maybe possibly, I know Canva has what do you call it, like a convention, that kind of thing, or I don't know if it's actually in person or not, but I guess they could have people, different content creators, come and speak at it if that was something that they had. I'm not sure if Canva has their own kind of like Canva creates. I don't know if that's something that is like just for the company itself, or if they invite other people in, other like creators in. So. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I think that's cool that they reach out to them and they say, "Hey, if you want to, here's your special link for the for people to join, through like your referral link." So, I think that's awesome. That's definitely something that's positive and something that is definitely um that's a way to kind of get in, and once you start getting those deals and sponsorships, I think you can once you get to a certain level and you kind of have established your foundation within your niche, then I feel like more and more doors are going to start opening for you, which is super cool because you can turn down whatever you want. You could accept what you want. You could turn down whatever you want. So yeah, okay. Like they'll make their video around the product and then they have a coupon code, right? You know what? So I'm not really sure. I think it really depends on the brand itself, and then kind of like what you said, Sweetums, like how big the following is. And I think I'm sure the brand has like a threshold budget wise. Let's just say if there's somebody that has, I don't know, we'll just say 50,000 to 100,000 subscribers, Canva, we are going to offer them this much, potentially this much money plus an affiliate link, in order to kind of do like a brand sponsorship. But I would definitely say if you have over 100,000 subscribers or followers, um, you're probably looking at getting at least a couple grand, I would say, from the brand, and then also your affiliate link, so you can earn money on top of that. Yeah, that's true, Sweetums, right? So I've heard of that and I've seen that too, where they get kind of like siloed or shoeboxed in, and if they partner with like a Canva or like a Kittle, and they try to make videos using other graphic softwares, then yeah, I think it depends on what the partnership is, like how deep the partnership is, as far as like if they sign some sort of contract agreement saying, okay, you definitely can't make videos about our competitor, which is Kittle or whoever else. Earnings Empire says, do you ever see the stories where an influencer approaches a restaurant and they expect a free meal and the restaurant owner gets annoyed? I've seen that. Yeah, I've definitely seen that before. I think it's kind of funny because I think it's just the influencer themselves by human nature. I think they just kind of assume that they're going to get free food because of who they are, that kind of thing. But I think clearly that's not the way that hey Daxic, how you doing? So good to see you again. Thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate you being here. Yeah, I think that's yeah, exactly. I think the ego goes like this, like up, and then they're like, "Oh, well, I have 50, 100, 150, 200,000 followers, so how come I can't get free food?" I mean, let's be realistic. Like, if you have that kind of following, then you're probably making some pretty good money. So, like, why don't you just pay for the food? I mean, but I understand, like, people get all, like, in their head and be like, "Oh, I'm super important. I'm like a celebrity," when, you know, chances are they're not as important or as popular as I think there are, kind of thing. So yeah, I mean that could kind of be kind of like the flip side of being an influencer is like the ego and getting the big head. So especially about like always wanting the attention and being recognized, that kind of thing. So yeah, that I've seen that before. Like, have you guys seen that too? Where like an influencer goes into like somewhere and like a video of it and then they get denied free food because the restaurant owner is like, "Hey, well, you still gotta pay for it. I mean, what am I benefiting?" Even though it would probably be free marketing or free press, but I can see it from both sides. So, what do you guys think? I mean, can you see that from both sides as far as giving somebody free food? Like, where do you draw the line with giving somebody free food as far as like, is it is it a subscriber thing? Is it, like subscriber count? I mean, how do you kind of, I guess, um, like rectify that kind of situation. Yeah, I mean that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I'm with you guys. I mean, I know for sure. Like for me personally, I would never try that. I'd be like, all right, I'm just gonna go in, pay for what I want and do the thing and that's good. We're good. I mean, I would never I think getting a handout or getting some sort of like, free item or whatever would be an extreme bonus, but I would never go in anywhere expecting it because of who I am or whatever. So I don't feel like that's the way the world works. I mean, I think you still need to work for what you get, and pay for it. And, because getting free food, I mean, you're not, yeah, you're promoting, but at the same time, I mean, it would also be nice to actually support monetarily, like brand or a restaurant or whatever business, So, I mean, who knows? It might work in your favor. Like, if you were to pay for it, then it might be like, oh no, we're gonna comp it. Hey, Nudevo, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to comment. Really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for. We're talking about not affiliate marketing, really. We're talking about influencer marketing. We're almost in the middle here of a 30-day challenge where we talk about how to make money online for 30 days. And every day is a different topic, a different business model. So today you landed on day 13, influencer marketing. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Yeah, Sweetums definitely. If anything, I would email the company and ask what their threshold is before they accept a proposal for collaboration. I think that's smart because you definitely don't want to assume, A, you don't want to assume, but also B, you don't want to burn your bridge before you even kind of start the relationship with them or like the collaboration or the sponsorship because you feel like maybe you deserve up here and they're like down here. So I think it's one of those things where that's probably the smartest way to look at it and kind of, maybe you can have some numbers or some ideas in your head, but then you have the brand or the company or the restaurant or whatever, they're kind of like leading the charge as far as like, because it's really them that you want to try to, it works both ways. You're going to promote them, but at the same time, they don't necessarily have to offer you something for free. So it definitely goes both ways as far as that goes. So I just think, like Sweetums, I would be too scared to try that. Like you walk in, you're like, yeah, let me get this free. Let me get a donut. Let me get a ham sandwich over here. Let me get some Coke. You know, that kind of thing. I mean, it just sounds very demanding. And I know exactly. It's probably not exactly like that, but um, I don't know. How do they bargain that, or how do you kind of like talk that through? Like before you actually order, do you kind of go up there and say, okay, or do you wait until you're done and you're done eating and they bring you the check and you're like, oh, I thought I was gonna get this stuff for free, you know? Yeah, Dragon Rider, I agree. I mean, I think in a sense, I think there's definitely a potential to hurt both reputations on both sides. In terms of, maybe depending on how big the influencer is, maybe not as much or they don't care, that kind of thing. But I almost think the restaurant or the business has a lot more to lose from getting bad press or negative press or something like that. Just on that sense. But I have a feeling a lot of people would probably side more with the restaurant or the business rather than the influencer because they're looking at it more from like an angle of, oh, you're entitled, you think you just deserve this stuff, whatever it is. So yeah, that's kind of how I'd approach it. I mean, I agree with your proposal, definitely. Okay, so let's dive into the best ways to get started actually with us, you guys, me becoming an influencer marketing. So, how do we get started? So, the first thing we're going to want to do is you're going to want to define your goals. So, basically, to put it as simply as possible, you want to define like what do you want to achieve? So, like, do you want brand awareness? Do you want increased sales? Do you want more followers, subscribers? Do you want to increase like traffic? So, what would you guys say for like a goal as far as like what would be a goal that you could think of when you want to start going down the influencer marketing route to be one yourself? Like what could be a goal that somebody would want to try to achieve? All right, Earnings Empire says, do you have to be a YouTuber or a TikToker? TikToker. Is that what it is to be considered an influencer? I would say no. I don't think it just solely relies on, those two social platforms. Um, I think it's more along the lines of, um, it could be like on a blog, could be on a website, could be somebody who is maybe a photographer, that kind of thing, who's building up a lot of buzz or like energy about, what they do, their portfolio. So I think really what an influencer is basically is, yeah. So I think there's probably like a social kind of like threshold in terms of how big your following is to be an influencer, and to be honest, I would say in a very like macro sense for an influencer, like a very small influencer, I would say probably between 5 to 10,000 subscribers or followers in your specific niche, as long as you stay in a niche. So yeah, and do I definitely agree. Yep, get subscribers, views, audience. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with that. So I think I don't necessarily think so. Earning Empire. I don't necessarily think that there's like kind of like a hard and fast, so to speak, number for being an influencer. But through my research, I found when they label somebody as a macro influencer, macro versus micro. Basically, macro is like the smaller version. It would usually be between 5 to 10,000 followers in your niche. So yep, that's kind of like the loose definition of like a macro influencer would be like 5 to 10K. Yeah, definitely. Damien, I agree with that. I agree with that statement, definitely. So I think that is a great way to look at it. And, you know, ultimately to be an influence to somebody, to anybody, in your personal life, in your family, your friends, whatever. Um, Influencing somebody, I think, in a positive light, or being able to influence somebody and influence, aka in my mind, encourage somebody. So, according to some of these people that come in and they either say like I need to get wax or some kind of like I look like the verb pipe or whatever it is. I'm like, I don't know, maybe it'd be something for up here, who knows. Yeah, no, but I think all kidding aside, Damien, you're right. I mean, I agree. You can have influence and be positive and build people up, encourage people, support somebody. To me, that is somebody who is an influencer. You want to basically emulate, or you want to try to um, you know like learn these traits, these character traits, and these um, different experiences and skills that these successful people have. But it doesn't necessarily mean that. I mean, obviously, somebody who's an influencer doesn't obviously have to be like a jerk and all full of themselves and like a big ego. I mean, to have influence, I think comes down to respect and treating people with kindness and just leading by example, and also actions speak louder than words, basically. So taking your actions and allow that to do the talking for you. So that's kind of my definition of, you know, being a true influencer, like out of the limelight of social media, just in your personal life. Sweetums, yeah, you said it best right there. I could not agree with you more. I mean, influencer in in a sense, like just quickly, if you say the word influencer, there is a lot, I think, in a sense of negative connotation. So I think it's just you're like, oh, great. So I mean, I'm gonna be honest. When I think of influencer and I like kind of think about it for a split second, the first people that I think about, just in general, random, is like Jake and Logan Paul, right? So like the YouTubers that were the brothers that were on YouTube, setting their couches and the furniture on fire in the Hollywood Hills, that kind of thing. Those are influencers, like online, you know, that kind of thing. And typically you kind of think of it, you associate an influencer with a really kind of pompous outlook, a sense of entitlement, somebody who definitely thinks they're better than everybody else because of what they've been able to achieve, whether it be fully moral or not. Um, so, I mean, I do think that the word influencer, I think, is a bit tarnished when you think about it online. Um, but yeah, yep, Sweetums, I agree. Overly entitled people, definitely. And the problem with that is like, I don't know, these people that get these big heads, these large heads, and then you just treat everybody else like they're crap, basically. Like, they're not worthy of being around you. I mean, that's horrible. I mean, to get to that level, yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, to get to that level and have it be something to where it almost has this innate negative connotation, I think is pretty horrible. So I think there's something to be said. I think about kind of changing the narrative, changing the thought, changing the perception, and like the definition of what an influencer can be in your own little kind of world or your bubble. Um, even if it is online, changing the perception of, hey, person XYZ, I look up to them because I like the way that they treat people. They treat them with respect. They're kind, that kind of thing. Um, they're really thoughtful. They share things. They don't keep things to themselves. They're not selfish. Um, I think just organically, um, people can slowly kind of turn the tide on that term influencer into a more positive light, as long as you know they have the positive intent and they really want to do it. So I think it's really like leading by example. That would be number one. Lead by example and let your actions speak louder than your words. So, for example, you know that saying, like, I'm just going to use a random example. like on the memes or whatever. So, tell me you're rich without telling me you're rich, that kind of thing. So, for example, people driving around these fancy cars, that kind of thing, um, fancy clothes, whatever it is. So, that sort of thing, but in a more positive light. So, yeah, I that's pretty powerful, earning empire. I mean, I definitely agree with that in terms of not putting that label on themselves as far as like an influencer. Um, I think there's a certain kind of standard that like, society in a sense has put on the word, but I think the people that are positive influences and that are doing good out there, they don't refer to themselves as influencers, but they still get the same opportunities that influencers do get. So I think it's just a matter of how you carry yourself and how your outlook is. If it's a positive outlook and you're out there to kind of help people and treat people with respect and kindness, then I think that kind of stuff will come towards you. So yeah, I've never liked the term influencer. Like, what am I influencing you to do? Or what is somebody like when you see these people that are um, they have the rented mansions, like the Lamborghinis driving around, they're barely 20 years old. I mean, what kind of standard or precedent is that setting for like the rest of the generation that doesn't have anywhere near as much money? I mean, it feels like everybody else feels like less than, or they're not going to be good enough, or they're not up to that same level. Yeah, that's a great question, Dragon Rider. So we're gonna go through that. So first, in terms of getting there, so once you kind of have that, 5 to 10 follower range, that's not set in stone, but that's kind of a basic, in terms of like the online perception of being a macro influencer. So how do we get there, and how do we navigate the business once we're there? So then what you do is, in order to get there, you want to continue to identify what your audience is. So you want to understand who your target audience is and where do they spend their time online. So I think that in itself is going to help you get, increase, grow your following, grow your community, that kind of thing, grow your subscriber count, whatever it is. So if you understand who you're actually making content for, then I think the rest is going to work it out. So as you kind of grow organically, and you constantly strive to produce content that actually targets specific people in this audience, then I think um, the businesses and the sponsorships will come to you. So you don't need to necessarily reach out to them. I think if you're doing the right things and you're getting your audience engaged, then these brands and stuff will take notice, I think. Yeah, so I would say it's not always about you as the individual seeking out the brand sponsorships or trying to reach out to somebody, unless there's somebody that you really would like to work with, or you admire as far as like in a business sense, or whatever. But um, I definitely think you start out by you know staying true to yourself, staying humble, and doing what you can as far as to bring people along with you, and you know bring people along, teaching, learning, that kind of thing, interacting together. um, Okay, so then once you understand your target audience, then you can seek out sponsorships and align with you and your audience's values. I think so. I think that's probably the best course of action. So either you can go one of two ways. So if you wanted to seek out these sponsorships, or that kind of thing, these like brand deals, then you can reach out as the individual, the content creator. You can reach out yourself, or I think just naturally, organically, they will reach out to you. So you don't necessarily have to spend time reaching out to different brands. I think they'll reach out to you, and by that point, you'll know that in itself will kind of be that you've made it, or you're moving in the right direction in terms of putting this influencer label on what you're doing, so to speak. So people and brands will look to you to promote whatever their product or their service is. So um, I think definitely collaborating with the right kind of influencers as you're building your kind of community, and you're building your following. So you definitely want to look for influencers who match the target audience and the demographic that you're going after. So I think definitely. So I would say so, Dragon Rider, at least to kind of read over it and make sure that everything looks like it's on the up and up, and you're not basically getting screwed out of money or that kind of thing, or you don't have a chance of getting sued, that kind of thing. So I think it's probably, even though the brand, whoever the brand is, I guarantee they're going to have lawyers on their side. So it's probably not a bad idea to at least have some sort of a consultation with a business lawyer or somebody who does like online marketing or partnerships. At least just maybe schedule like a consultation and explain kind of the situation. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to retain them forever, but maybe just get their blessing. How does this contract look? And of course, that's not 100% that you have to do that, but I would say if you want peace of mind, it's probably not a bad idea once you get presented with a contract. If you don't feel like you understand the details and the contents of what the contract is asking, then yeah, you could get it looked over by a lawyer. I don't think that's a bad idea in any way, shape, or form. I definitely think when you're thinking about working with a collab with somebody else, another content creator in your niche, um, the factors that you're probably going to consider for you, but also for them is what's the engagement rate like? So what's the content quality and authenticity? So you really want to make sure that you're aligning with somebody who is very close to your same kind of the way that you hold yourself and the way that you present yourself, to your audience. So yep. So Drag Rider said, so you can be an influencer on any platform like Instagram, TikTok. Yep. Yes. Yep. Definitely. And honestly, it doesn't even, I know we think about social media, like we kind of associate social media with like being an influencer, but you can also do like a blog or website. Um, as far as online, just for the example of what we're talking about in this particular topic is online influencer marketing. So yeah, it would definitely be social media, but also could be like a blog or a website, that type of thing. Um, so there's kind of different forms, but I think in the basic sense of influencer, then yeah, it would most likely be social media. But yeah, you can do it on, or you can potentially be an influencer on any platform. So when it comes down to like collab, you want to make sure that not only do you have, content ideas, topic ideas that you're able to kind of, you know, do like a cross reference between the two channels, you and somebody else, but also you want to figure out, okay, how much are you willing, as far as budget wise, how much are you willing to set aside to allocate the resources to get this done? Whether it be, do you need to fly somewhere? Does somebody need to fly to you? Um, is this going to be like over Zoom or some sort of video chat, that kind of thing? So some of those logistics you got to kind of just work out in between, the two of you, and then you have to develop a strategy. So how are we actually going to leverage each other's channels, or what are we going to collab about? What are we even doing? So for example, like it would kind of be easy if you have like a food channel and you're collaborating with like two different eaters, or like people that do the eating. So that would be easy. I mean, that's kind of obvious. But if you have other, you know, as far as like a different niche, like, for example, like for my niche, finance slash make money online, how would you present collaborating with somebody? Would it be like a question and answer session? Maybe like share your experiences, that kind of thing, or just kind of talk back and forth, kind of like a podcast. So you got to kind of decide which kind of marketing you're going to do, and what kind of content creation you're going to do together. So, and then once you do that, you can plan the timeline of everything, the meetup and everything, and then you'll figure out whatever you're going to film. So, how does that sound? Is there anything in there that's like a little bit confusing? I know it's multi-layered and there's definitely a lot to it, but does that make sense for you guys? Like, just on the surface, as far as kind of starting to understand what it means to be an influencer in the online sense. Yeah, so Earning Empire said it sounds like it'd be a dream come true to be on that level where someone thinks you have so much influence that they want you to sell their product. I know that's pretty crazy, isn't it? That's just thinking about that being a reality where somebody feels like the words that you say carry weight and that you can really make a difference in somebody or multiple people's lives just by what you say. Yeah, that's pretty there's a lot of responsibility that comes along with that. And that's pretty heavy in a sense of like, the accountability for the individual. Um, and knowing that some people are waiting on, every word that you say. So you definitely have to make sure that you're dealing with, these influence that are up and, you know, definitely have the right positive intent because I can see how that could go kind of chaotic really quickly. So, in a sense of reaching out for a collaboration, I mean, you could reach out for, to the influencer themselves. You can reach out to like if they have a manager or like an assistant, you can reach out to them and say, okay, what is your proposal for me or for you, back and forth. Like, what are you proposing to me? Is it products that I'm going to give you? Is it just, I guess, like airtime, like where you can kind of talk to my audience or that kind of thing? We can interact. So you want to try to narrow down what exactly it is. What are you trying to do with this uh, collaboration, that kind of thing? But it's definitely important to be transparent, like definitely about expectations and compensation and deliverables, meaning like what are you actually going to talk about? So sorry, I keep looking over because the wind is whipping up and it's like I'm looking out this window and it's just I don't know if it's just going to start dumping down rain. Yeah, that's true. Earning Empire. Yep. So sometimes they even give you like a script or a guideline on how they want you to promote their product. That's true. Yes. And I've also seen it to where depending on, who you watch, whatever product they're reviewing or they're trying to promote, I mean, it almost seems like they do have some sort of like a script or like some sort of okay, here's the bullet points I want you to talk about, and then cut over to your computer and show the screen and go on the website and take a look at some things, scroll down. So it seems like there is definitely like a quick format, and I think a lot of the sponsorships I've seen, if it's a sponsorship in terms of like a quick cut of a video, they're not usually more than maybe 30 seconds max that I've seen. I'm not sure if you guys have seen, when people cut into like a sponsorship part of their video. Um, how long have you guys seen it? I think it's only like up to 30 seconds. Like they don't sit there and kind of, dwell on the product or whatever. They just do like a quick overview and then they just kind of go from there. So, unless have you guys seen anything different? Like, I'm just curious, like the structure of when somebody brings in, talks about like a sponsorship of a product, like, is it usually quick or do they kind of draw it out? Yay! Hey, Lorazarth, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining. I was gonna ask you, would it be okay if can I call you Laura? Is that okay? I just want to make sure. I really don't want to mispronounce your name. Is Laura fine? I just want to make sure that's okay. So Earnings Empire asked, do you have any dream collabs yourself? So you know what? I mean, to be honest, there's a couple people that were in the kind of the financial space like a couple years ago. Um, they're not as big right now, or they don't post as consistent. But a couple of them have over a couple million followers. So one of them is a guy from Canada. His name is Stephen James, and he runs this company called Project Life Mastery. Basically, does this, talks about the same general stuff that I do, but he was actually one of my early inspirations um, to get into YouTube and to kind of get interested in this like finance niche. So yeah, definitely. I mean, I can't think of too many people, to be honest. Like, and really surprisingly, not really any like celebrities like really come to mind right now. Like as far as like boom, that I could think about. Okay, awesome. You're welcome, Laura. No problem. I just wanted to make sure that um, we were on the same page and there was respect. So got it. Understand now. Yeah, so Sweetum says, I've seen YouTubers do the ad at the beginning and sometimes in the middle of the video, sometimes at the end. But I think depending on where it is in the video, you get paid accordingly. Yeah, definitely. And I wonder if like when they're doing an ad or like a sponsorship, the actual brand, do they say, okay, if you talk about it for more than 30 seconds or a minute, then we'll give you more, like more money or not even money, just like, more whether it be like an affiliate link, we're going to give you a little bit more profit, or in terms of if it's like a supplement or that kind of thing, we'll give you more free samples. Yeah, I'm wondering about that. Or if it's like an all or nothing. So we'll do like, I think to be honest, like in the beginning, usually what I'll see is like people will say, and this video is sponsored by Whole Foods or whatever, that kind of thing. Um, and then sometimes that'll be it. Like they won't mention it again. But I think there's other types of like sponsorships where they actually say, this video is brought to you by, I'm just gonna make up something. I don't know, Albertsons grocery store, get all your milk and your eggs and bread, that kind of thing, and then, check out our app, and then they go through the app and all that. So I think it really depends on the brand itself as to like kind of how they structure what you're gonna say, but also like what they're gonna give you in return. Yeah, I totally agree. Earning Empire, definitely. Yeah, I think that's valid, and I think that's definitely fair in terms of like how they structure the brand. I mean, I wish I had like an example for you guys, but I'm like far, far, far from being anywhere near big, anywhere near being big enough to have anybody approach me. But um, if that day ever comes, we will absolutely circle back around and we'll talk about it, and I'll show you guys the contract and all that kind of thing. But hey, trying to be open minded, maybe in the future. Yep. Yeah, definitely for sure, Sweetums. Something to look forward to in the future. I definitely would want to do it like I feel like exactly like what we're talking about now here, where it's something that it's gonna obviously have to benefit both, but I don't want to just basically, I never ever want to just do something just off the cuff just because, whether it's for money or for, for some type of product or whatever, because once you set that like precedent, that standard, then that's how it's gonna be. So you want to make sure that you as a content creator, you make these decisions very like wisely, but at the same time, very methodically and think it out and be like, okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to talk for 15 seconds about this, and they're going to give me this, that kind of thing. So I think everything within reason, and if you're both in agreement, then, you know, there shouldn't be any problems with it. So when we think about trying to find somebody to like collaborate with, when you're like in kind of like the research and the learn phase, um, I think it's definitely important to follow if this is kind of what you wish, what you're trying to become, you definitely want to follow successful influencers and industry trends just so you can kind of stay on top of, what is actually working. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to, mimic or copy exactly what they do or how they do it, but you can always get inspiration, I think, from different from various forms, whether it be individuals or brands, that kind of thing. Yeah, that Dragon Matter, that's a good point, and I think that would be me. Sometimes people get free stuff to promote whether they like it or not. That's so funny because it's like, "Hey, I never asked for this. I didn't ask for you to send me, like, your free cans of chili, or whatever, but if you want me to pour it in a bowl, put it in the microwave, and then eat it, I'll do that." But, you know, that's another example of, like, if somebody or not somebody, but if a brand offers you, some sort of a collab or a sponsorship, and it's something that you don't agree with, you don't like, just something that rubs you the wrong way, like, obviously, of course, you can turn it down. And, for like forever, permanently, it's not all about the money, right? It's about like the experiences and how do you view this sponsorship in terms of being something that you feel like is legitimate and valid and something that you're okay with. I mean, you're not like selling your soul, that kind of thing. So if you guys had to guess, and I'm just like kind of pulling this out of the air, like what would you think would be the most popular niches that you could think of for being an influencer, or maybe not even just an influencer, but getting a brand deal? Like when you think about somebody getting brand deals, are there certain niches or topics, that kind of come to mind like a lot more quick than other ones? Hey, Laura. So yeah, definitely. So you asked, so is the influencers are also called testers or samplers of products? Yeah, for sure. I definitely think that um, brands or like companies, they can definitely send people free things. Whether it be a product, it could be even like a service or like a software to test. But yeah, definitely, you're right on. You're spot on. So testers or samplers could be products. It could also be services too, or maybe like software, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think they all kind of encompass um, how you could kind of view as like an influencer. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Sweetums, definitely. I know there's a lot out there that and for a lot of different types of products. Um, I think it's interesting to kind of see like for sure, I agree, like health and wellness is probably up there as like one of the easiest kind of influencer brand sponsorship type things because there's so much that can be physically sent to you in terms of like, hey, try my this, try that, try this, try that, try my protein shake, whatever. So that might be like one of the top, probably the top three, because of just the magnitude of, the as far as like kind of the supply and demand, what you can actually supply the influencer with, as far as like physical products. Yeah, that's true. Dragon Matter tech companies too, like Skillshare, Squarespace, definitely. And I know it could be okay. Well, it's not a physical product like a vitamin or a supplement or that kind of thing, but I want you to demo my VPN software or my travel whatever software kind of thing. You know, now that gives things some clarity for me because I've always heard of the term before, but never. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. You're right on, Laura. Definitely. Yeah, totally. With makeup companies, you're right. I mean, that's another big one, I think. So health and wellness or like fitness and the makeup companies for sure. Yeah. I mean, another thing that I've seen is where, um, have you guys seen where they do like cross niches or like cross platform to where, maybe there are certain ideas that work in like the health and wellness or the fitness space in terms of like being an influencer or like a collab kind of a brand deal. But you can also use that maybe in like the food space or like, the outdoor space or the hunting, fishing, that kind of thing, or maybe the automotive space. So you kind of take these themes of, kind of going back to the beginning where we talked about like giveaways or contests or some ways to kind of engage the audience, so you can definitely do like a cross kind of like platform of using something that works in a totally different niche, but you can take it and kind of make it your own in your own, space. So, oh, that's cool, Sweetum. So you've seen influencers hint at companies by asking their audience, "Can you guys recommend me?" And so, recommend me so for this thing, and they wait for the brand to approach them with free stuff. Yeah, I mean, how do you guys feel about that? Like that kind of thing. Like, I don't know. Me personally, like this is just me individually. Like I don't really like stuff, in general. So like, I don't know that I want to get sent a bunch of crap. Just like, I mean, I don't really mean true crap, obviously, but like, I know that these are products and people worked hard to create them and everything, but I just don't want the stuff. So I don't know. I that would be kind of different for me. I think, I don't know that I would accept just the boxes of stuff. Yeah, Laura. So what if there is an allergic reaction to the product? Will there usually be any redress? Yeah, that's a great point because you never know when somebody has, like, for example, take the makeup side of things or makeup and beauty. Like, yeah, what if there is some sort of a reaction, but the brand just kind of throws all this stuff at you? I'm sure there's some sort of like communication plan or some kind of level of understanding to where, or maybe what you do is if you're the influencer or the individual, the content creator, and that certain thing, well, maybe there's a chance that you don't know, right? And you just kind of put this stuff on and then you get a reaction. Yeah. So I would imagine there's some sort of um, communication or understanding written in the contract in order to kind of safeguard the brand, I would say, for sure. Yeah, definitely, Laura. You're absolutely right. You're welcome. No problem. Yeah, earning empire. I agree. I think that would be between the company and the person, and the influencer wouldn't be culpable because you got to figure the brand is the one that's sending the stuff, right? So they're the ones that are like freely and willingly sending the product. So I'm sure that there may have a disclaimer possibly, if they've seen cases to where maybe it caused some kind of allergic reaction or some kind of negative reaction. Yeah, I definitely think there's nothing wrong with you know getting rid of the stuff. Just don't do it on camera. So for all they know that you've had their stuff, unless somewhere in the contract or, in the agreement that you show off the stuff over X period of time, maybe certain many weeks or months or whatever. That's the only, I think, kind of exception to where you probably couldn't just trash the stuff. You'd have to actually like keep it around or maybe keep a smaller subset, like a sample of, what you got. Yeah, Dragon Herder. So I think, so is there a template or a form letter or some type of thing to include in your proposal? Like when you ask a company if they want to work with you. Yeah, so what I would do is, because it's going to be different niche to niche, I know that there's some legal, I guess, kind of, I'm trying to think of the name of the company. Let me think for a second. I know there's some legal companies that have like kind of what is it called? Like pre-planned out templates that you can use. Um, let me think. Let me think of that. Let me see. Template for. Okay, so it looks like I think I've actually used this before. Um, let me actually pull this up. I want to show you guys this. Come on. Termly. So termly.io. Let me see if I can. Okay, let me post this here. Okay, so I put that link there. See if you guys want to check that out. Um, that's a free space that you can go to and you can actually grab. They have all kinds of like kind of templates and like terms and conditions. They have disclaimer generators, return policy, acceptable use, cookie, privacy policy. So there's the ones that are free. It looks like you may have to potentially pay for something a little more like legally binding kind of thing, but that's definitely a good start as far as something that is kind of like more of a template. And then of course you can always use something like, to get an outline, you can use like, you know, a chat GPT type thing to kind of draft an outline. And then I would say put it together and then you can always take it for a consultation to a lawyer if you have the resources to do that, just to have them look it over. That's interesting. I didn't think about that. Somebody actually selling the stuff that they got for free, and then the following or the subscribers getting upset. Yeah, definitely. You're welcome, Dragon Rider. So I think along with everything, I think, we all kind of understand that, when you're thinking about using something like a chat GPT or like any kind of like AI chatbot, you definitely don't want to keep it as face value. Whatever it spits out, you want to tweak it and customize it to however, suits your needs or whatever you're looking for. Um, and then obviously at the very end, it's probably you probably want to get it looked at definitely by some sort of legal representation, just to kind of make sure that it looks good as far as like the legalese goes. Oh, right on. So Laura said when you go to purchase our products, they actually ask you if you want to be interested, if you would be interested once they are launching a new product and they have space for a new tester. That's pretty cool actually. So they kind of give you like a heads up or you're like you're kind of like in line or whatever. So you're like in waiting that you might be interested to test something out. That's actually pretty cool. I mean, I think that's neat that they actually set that's kind of standard to where that there's potential, to test. Yeah, I was wondering that too. So you don't even have to be a part of it. Like they just kind of ask you if you want to be a tester. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty Yeah, I've seen that too. I definitely seen that too, Sweetums, where they kind of approach you and say, "Hey, I'll give you this. I'll give you a sample, but would you mind leaving a review?" That kind of thing. Yeah, and that's the thing is you definitely. I mean, obviously, in your own particular situation, if it's something that you flat out don't want or you're not going to use, then they're absolutely. I think you're just helping yourself and you're helping them at the same time by you know, turning it down. That way they're not wasting, money on shipping and that kind of thing. But also, by the same token, you're not like accepting something just for the heck of it, you know? Not sure about the following part. I didn't get that far because a form disqualifies you when you fill in the address part and you are not from their country. Oh, okay. Got it. So if you're outside like their country or their district, then you automatically get disqualified. That's pretty interesting to see. So they kind of have like this pre-criteria kind of built into where they can just not necessarily deny people, but it basically excludes people that aren't kind of in, you know. Nice. Influencer.com. I don't think I've heard of that one, Sweetums. Oh, that's cool. So if you're into like the free stuff, that kind of thing, you can review it and they'll send you some free, or the other way around, they'll send you some stuff and then you can review it and that kind of thing. So yeah, if you're into, thanks for sharing that site. Yeah, that's pretty neat. So if somebody out there is interested in that kind of stuff, definitely want to check that out. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm curious about that. If there's anything in the US, you know, for like it that kind of equivalent as far as like, you know, the kind of the program that you were trying to sign up for. I was thinking about that. I couldn't think of anything, off the top of my head. I think in terms of another way when you're trying to like build your presence online, build your brand, setting up different social media platforms or profiles, I think it's like super important that everything is consistent, like we've kind of talked about in the past. So you definitely want to really try to optimize your profiles when you're setting them up. You want to have the same logo, the same name if you could possibly help it, as far as like the ad sign or whatever the username is, just to keep everything as consistent as possible. So that way, when in the future, when a brand, excuse me, when a brand does approach you, they know that everything is consistent. And that way, if people are looking for you, they can find you and they can notice, okay, that's a brand right there. That's who you are. That's the same. I'm on the right account. That type of thing. So I think it's also important to be consistent about when you're creating, like when you think about creating, like what is high quality content, that these brands are after, like what is the criteria for them to work with you in terms of what are they asking for. So you could help kind of plan it out on your own with, like developing like a content strategy and some sort of like a calendar to keep it organized. there's a site called Influencer that helps brands and influencers. Oh, that's pretty cool. So it's kind of like, you know, is that almost like a matchmaking site for like influencers and like brands to kind of come together? That's actually a pretty good idea. So you don't have to go kind of like cold calling or like blind searching. You can actually have, sign up and, say, okay, this is what I do. And if there's any brand out there that aligns with, who I am, you can, boom, we can talk to each other and see if we would be a good fit for one another. That's actually pretty cool. That's a good idea. So, and I think when you're thinking about, making sure your brand is consistent, I mean, producing something that's like engaging, that brings value or, is educational or teaches somebody something, and is authentic. So you really want to work in like the really high quality visuals, whether it be photos or videos or that kind of thing. Um, and really try to like tell a story through your content itself. So that's the best way to really engage people. So that way, if a brand is looking at all your different socials and they're like, well, I went over to YouTube, that was okay. I went to Instagram, Pinterest, those are kind of lacking. So I think you definitely want to make sure that you have everything as tight knit as possible, as far as like polished up and kind of ready to go. So yeah, that was a great idea. Thank you guys so much. So here's a couple of tips. I was thinking about, when you think about trying to grow your audience, that can seem daunting and overwhelming and quite frankly like a little overwhelming. So here are a little bit of tips, things that I use or that I think would be good as far as like helping you grow. So obviously hashtags, whatever social media account, if they allow hashtags and they're used in a sense of, kind of getting your like expanding your search, like the reach, I would say use hashtags and encourage engagement. So ask, maybe like leading questions or whatever your picture, your video, or your content is. You can kind of have a call to action in there, like, don't forget to comment on this, or what do you guys think about this, or give me an example of this, that kind of thing. So really kind of try to draw like a response out of the audience. So there's that engagement kind of back and forth. Um, and then obviously you yourself participating in these different online communities or forums, just to kind of get your name out there and without spamming, obviously. So you want to make sure that everything is kind of uniform, but you want to bring everything together so it looks the same as far as across all of your social media accounts. So not only like, you know, the engagement, I think, in addition, could be responding to questions and comments and messages. And I know we've kind of talked about this before, but just kind of like reassuring the audience that hey, there is a human being behind there. It's not just like some video and somebody that filmed a video and they just ran away. So I think that's like super important. And then, on top of that, hosting like Q&A sessions, kind of like we do with these live streams, actually doing a live stream. A giveaway is another. I think that one might be a little more dicey. Like, what do you guys think about that as far as like giveaways go? I mean, is that kind of, I don't want to say shady, but I think you kind of have to do it the right way as far as like, what are you actually giving away? I mean, are people just going to sign up to just potentially be enrolled in whatever the contest is, and then you're never going to see them or hear from them again? That's kind of my fear, is like people just sign up or just subscribe for that particular thing in that moment, but they don't actually want to be a part of what you're trying to do or what you're trying to build, Yeah, I wonder. So, Dragon Rider, like? What kinds of things have you seen? Like, as far as like, giveaways, is it like, what do they actually give away? Like, is it money or like gift cards, or I'm just curious, like, what do they actually give away for like the prize, that kind of thing, or is it even considered like a prize? Gift cards and bumper stickers and small. Okay, that's cool. Like small items, that kind of thing. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, how do you guys like view that? Like, is that something that's like, would that be like an exciting thing, or is that like, that's kind of cheesy? Like that's just kind of you're really trying to like, what's the word? You're really reaching here, that kind of thing. You're really desperate. I mean, I don't know. I got to be honest. That kind of is how I kind of see it sometimes. I think it's kind of coming off as desperate. I mean, I don't know. I think it really depends on what is the intent of the giveaway. Like, what's the end goal? Are you trying to get like more subscribers? Are you trying to get engagement or this or that? What are you trying to get? I mean, I think, you know, that's cool. That's cool that they were able to do it in a positive way. Like, I think it really depends on the approach that's taken as far as like the giveaway. Because I know I've seen it before where it's like, I don't know. It just you're like, I don't know if I trust this. That kind of thing. But I think at the end of the day, I mean, people like free stuff. Which is cool. But I would just be nervous that they would just come for the free stuff and then just never ever see you again. Yeah, that's true, Sunims. That's a good idea. So you just write to them and you let them know why you want a particular product. That's a good idea. That's a good way to kind of approach it. Wow, that's awesome. They have about 300,000 subscribers. I mean, that's a pretty good sized channel right there. That's like, on their way. So that's good. I mean, that's also, like a lot of work. I wonder how they do that as far as like picking the actual giveaway winner. I mean, I wonder how that works as far as, do you have to submit something to be enrolled or to be, put in this, I guess, drawing, that kind of thing. I'm curious about that, like kind of how that works. In the beginning, that kind of reminds me of like when they said you just email them or something about why you would want our product, and they just, oh, okay. No, that's cool. That works, Sweetums. Yeah, I mean, it kind of sounds like they're just doing it like almost random, kind of based off of what, their response that they get, like somebody's response, and that's kind of how they choose. I think that could be cool. I mean, yeah, that works. That's cool. And that's just kind of another way to like engage with your audience, and be able to have them be a part of something and feel like it's not just, they're talking up on the stage and there's no like real interaction. That's cool. No, I like that. I think I like that idea as far as, being able to interact. And I just wonder, like, if I did something like, what would I give away? Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess you would figure out like what kind of, like, does it automatically have to align with like your niche? I wonder, that kind of thing. I wonder like how many of these channels, like, the guys watch and they're kind of out there, like, how on certain YouTube channels you can have like memberships, like you can join a membership for X amount of dollars a month and you can give different perks, that kind of thing. I mean, how do you think, is that something that's good for like interaction to kind of make somebody feel even more close, like they're more of a part, or like they're closer to the content creator because they're joining this, I guess kind of more tiered membership type thing where they feel like they have a little closer connection or they're supporting a little bit more. as far as like, a viewer supporting a content creator. I just wonder how often, like, I guess it really depends on the content creator as to what the perks or the rewards are going to be for the membership. Oh, that's pretty cool. So you as the content creator, it sounds like you can kind of like tweak it any way you want. As far as like what do you think the perks would be for the membership? So you can charge, let's say $1 a month and you get XYZ, or like $3 or $4 a month and you can get access to this or whatever. So that's cool. Yeah, so there's definitely like different forms of monetizing, your audience and your influence kind of thing. Um, and especially like combining that with like affiliate marketing, I think is definitely cool. I like that. I like that too. The Q&A with members exclusive. That's kind of a cool idea. And I've heard of like members only live streams where you can only, only the members can go in and they can ask questions and stuff. That's a good idea, Laura. Printing cups or t-shirts or something. I know somebody in here that knows a thing or two about print on demand. So yeah, I just think excuse me. I think the whole the whole approach to looking at being an influencer as a whole, I think is just really interesting. I mean, there's so many different layers and levels that you can kind of, do that. I know somebody whose Patreon includes monthly stickers. See, that's cool. That's actually pretty cool. That's a unique idea to where they send out monthly stickers. That's pretty cool. And if you do that through print on demand, then, you know, getting a sample of that, that's awesome. She paints cats. That's cool. And you get a sticker of a cat. That's awesome. I love that. That's so cool. I mean, that's like the perfect example of like carving out your space in the niche is like, you know, especially like the print on demand space, like customizing, whatever the products are. That's like where it's at. Customizing and really making it feel like um whoever it is, the designer is reaching out to the individual, the purchaser or the buyer, and really trying to customize something just for them and make like something so unique. That's the best part I think about, the combination of like Etsy and like print on demand is where everything, for the most part is like custom. And I think that's just so cool. Like you can't just go to your local store and buy it. I think there's a when we're talking about kind of like an influencer, kind of like monetizing, monetizing their channel, monetizing you know, their audience or their brand, that kind of thing. I think it's not just about, brand sponsorships and that kind of thing. I mean, we talked about engaging with the audience. So basically creating a membership and creating different levels, different tier levels, and different perks. Yeah, earning empire. So have you seen examples of really successful influencer marketing campaigns? Yeah, so I've seen as far as like the influencer marketing itself to reach out to brands, um, really nothing that I've seen as far as like, you know, step by step kind of like how to reach out to brands, but it's more of like, once you get contacted, then kind of what do you do as far as like, you know, deciding on, what the product is or what the service is, that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I definitely seen like basically, I think one of the best examples, and it's going back to the very beginning. Sweetums mentioned Mr. Beast, and I think he is the ultimate at doing that as far as like influencer marketing, because not only in his videos does he have, his feastables like the chocolate or the I think that's what it is, chocolate, and it's in stores and that kind of thing. But I think that's the ultimate like influencer marketing where you can infuse your own products into your videos, into your content creation videos. And if you can do that and it's seamless and it's just something that feels and it looks like it should be there and it's not out of place, I mean, I think that you have everything dialed in and you know what you're doing, at that point. Because you're just like, hey, hey, check this out. All right, we're live. It's just like, hey, check this out. We got this candy bar or whatever, this chocolate bar, and it's in the middle of this video. So, I mean, doing promos, I think, um, for different products that you have. So, like, if you created a product, for example, like some kind of like merchandise, maybe like clothing, accessories. We talked about print on demand, but also like digital products, right? So, whether it be like ebooks or like courses or maybe like downloadable PDFs for like guides to do certain things. Um, I think if you can, a successful campaign would be to integrate, some of those pieces into it and monetize not just, for face value with like a membership, but also be able to, you know, have different levels or layers of monetization. Yeah, that's another thing that what do you guys think about that as far as like brand or like influencers that put like brands brand like sponsorships like or not even like a brand, but if it's their own product within the video, like just kind of like casually or subtly. I mean, I think that's pretty genius to be able to slip that in. I mean, as long as it's not like really over heavily obvious to where they're like, buy this, buy this, buy this, that kind of thing. As long as it's done in like kind of like a professional way, I don't see any problem with kind of slipping in their own products. Have you guys seen that out there with any, any other YouTubers or anybody on any other platforms, like subtly promoting their own products, like not like a brand deal, but like their own something they created themselves? That's cool. I mean, talk about like, hey, this is it. This is me. This is my course. I don't have anybody else as a brand sponsorship. I'm sponsoring myself. This is brought to you by my course. Now I gotta check that out, Sweetums. Is that Rebecca Selena's art? I'm gonna type that in. I love that. So does the does the they don't actually like paint the cat like with paint, right? I mean, you're just talking about like drawing or paint them like on some sort of canvas, not actually like drawing or painting on the cat itself, right? Like not on the fur. Am I getting that wrong? Oh, okay, okay, okay. I was like, wait, what are they? All right, okay, we're on the same page now. For a second, I was like, wait, are they painting the cat? No cat, no cats were harmed during the painting of this canvas. Maybe they stepped in their paws, but that's about it. They weren't like painted and they turned their head. Okay, do a little over here, a little over here. That's so funny. I mean, I'm sure that some of that's toxic to cats, but like for some reason that's what I was envisioning when you said that, Freedom's like, oh man. I'm like, what is that? That's so funny. So I just want to take a minute to say how much I appreciate you guys being here. You guys show up day in and day out, and you join this 30-day challenge and show me support, and I greatly appreciate it. It means so much to me. I just want to give a preview of tomorrow. So tomorrow is day 14, and we're going to talk about online tutoring, which actually is like, to be completely honest, like pretty fairly lucrative as far as like a side hustle goes. So if you're interested at all about online tutoring, um, definitely check it out or check out the replay for sure. But we'd love to have you live if you're able to make it. Otherwise, we'll definitely see you, for sure. So online tutoring is tomorrow, day 14, and so hopefully you guys are having a good time with this 30-day challenge. I mean, it's definitely something that I feel more invigorated the more and more we do it because it's a new topic. Nothing's the same. I mean, some of the things, the concepts are the same with like, finding your niche, finding your audience, that kind of thing. But it's all like different topics, different business models. So that's why I like it because it's something different every single day. Yeah, Laura, you thought the same thing as far as the cat. Is that is that right? The cat being painted. Don't paint my cat. That's funny. Oh, cool. I'll check that out, Sweetums. Study to success. That's cool. Is that about like online tutoring space? Okay. I'm doing it. I'm doing it live right here. Study to success. 2 million. 2 million. Tutoring. That's it. Online tutor. 2 million followers or subscribers. That is bonkers. Wow. That's the thing. I mean, that is a huge inspiration. That's a huge inspiration. Seriously, like something like that, that just proves that you can do anything on YouTube and you can be successful. You just have to kind of carve out your own niche, or not necessarily niche, but your own unique space. Yep, absolutely. And it's so funny because honestly, the direction that I was going to kind of go wasn't even really with like YouTube, like teaching. It was more of like, the typical online sites like Tutor, Check Tutors, that kind of thing, the platforms. But Skillshare, that kind of thing. But that's awesome. I mean, to be able to film that and to be a part of that and know that you're helping people. That's not even just like, hey, this would be cool if I help somebody out, but you're helping people. That's awesome. Oh, thank you, Laura. I really appreciate that. It does mean very much to me. Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. Yeah, I'm so happy that you found this channel, you found us in the live stream. And so I'm having fun. I'm enjoying being here with you guys. And, we're all learning together. So, which is super cool. Dang. 3 million views for like stationary halls and desk organization. I mean, that's incredible. That's really, really incredible. Absolutely. You guys are welcome. Absolutely. So, we got about 10 minutes or so left. I can't believe 2 hours almost went by already. That's crazy, you guys. So we got about 10 minutes left or so, 9 or 10 minutes left for the live. I gotta actually refill my drink and then um, get going. We actually to get to some family stuff tonight. That's so cool. That's so important, and I appreciate that very much. I mean, that's a goal about, trying to at least kind of create an open mind, or like at least kind of think, at least give it an option, try to open your mind to think about, all right, could I potentially, start this as a side hustle or as like a business model, and if nothing else, stay here for the entertainment and the company of, everybody who joins and participates and stuff. So it's definitely all about, sharing experiences, and definitely if somebody has firsthand experience with something, that's even better, because then we know we can actually go to a legitimate source and really get an idea of, okay, what is your take, what's your view, what has your experience been on this particular topic, so yeah, I love that too. Thank you, Dragon Rider. I really appreciate it. I'm so happy you guys are enjoying this 30-day challenge. It was definitely something that, as I was thinking about what to do, I knew that I wanted to do something like this and really engage and kind of, you know, not necessarily, it is kind of taking a break from like the long form videos, because going live is like live, like anything can happen. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun. I know we're all here to support each other. So that's the coolest part. Let's see. I'm just gonna look through my notes real quick. Okay, so I just have a couple more points real quick to finish out the influencer marketing kind of, to kind of wrap it all up. So when we talk about what defines a a successful influencer, typically you focus on like high engagement rates, as far as like likes, subscribes, comments, that kind of thing, an authentic connection with the followers or subscribers, really have that real connection with them on a human level, and not just, hey, robotic through a video, that kind of thing. And consistently, your content quality is the same, so people know that they can count on, being consistent quality. And the videos are pretty much, they don't have to be exactly the same format, but pretty much the same. Oh, okay. Earning Empire. I was watching this guy who teaches raining on YouTube, and said something really interesting. He said that it wasn't the talented people who were successful, but those who were good at marketing themselves, but don't necessarily have talent. That's true. That's interesting too. So basically, you don't have to have all the talent in the world. You just have to know how to market yourself. That's pretty insightful. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, just to kind of think about that and think for a second. Thank you, Earning Empire, for you know for saying that, or for posting that. That's definitely some good food for thought. So it's all about marketing. Like, how can you market yourself? How can you set yourself apart or make yourself unique? And carve your slice out. Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, so when you guys are thinking about, we're talking about products, as far as like, how do you get products? How do you maintain this authenticity while promoting products? And I know that's something that's really important. Um, you want to choose the collaboration, like we kind of mentioned before. Choose a collaboration with a brand or a sponsor that aligns with your values and your interests, so you're really on the same page. And that way it can help you to be more transparent with your audience. So if everything is aligned, as far as like, okay, we're on the same page, we're kind of like in sync as far as like, you know, what we're doing, how we view certain things, then I think that's going to be a little more smooth, like kind of sailing for the audience. And so it won't be so out of place if you try to present something, or you try to promote something and they're like, whoa, I didn't think you would do this. This is way out of left field, that kind of thing. No, you're good, Earning Empire. No problem at all. I was just kind of going through the last part of my notes, so you are all good. There's someone who rated a 4 out of 10 that you would see on her steps of churches and her business card for weddings and funerals. Wow. Dang. That's pretty nuts. That's crazy. Yeah, that is insane. I'm not even sure what that means. I don't know. Maybe I just read that wrong, Earning Empire. I'm sorry. I don't know. I think I think my eyes are getting tired. Um okay. So I just want to kind of close it out, kind of how we always do. So um this channel is not monetized. So we're just trying to work out to, expand our channel and get it to reach a wider audience. So if you happen to want to make a donation, at the very top of this live stream chat, there's a pinned comment to support our channel. We take everything from, buy me a coffee to Venmo to Zelle to PayPal, Cash App, and so forth. So if you feel inclined to make a donation, we greatly appreciate it. But of course, there's no obligation. So I just really appreciate you guys being here and supporting me, supporting us, supporting what we're doing. And I just enjoy seeing you guys all the time, every day. And it's definitely a pleasure to see you guys. All right, sorry, I'm just over here ranting, and I got to catch up on what Earning Empire is saying. Oh, he rated his students in his head, and the girl was a 4 out of 10 and was really successful, is what I meant to say. Oh, because I was going to say, wait, looks? 4 out of 10 looks. I'm like, oh, man. Okay. I think that's probably the. Did anybody else think it was about looks? I mean, am I the crazy one? I don't know. I don't know here. I think, like, you know, I was like, oh, geez. And especially when you're doing it in your head, you're like, okay, all right, all right. What are they doing here? That's funny. Yeah, why? I think I have more questions about this. We might have to reconvene this earnings empire. We might have to reconvene this earnings empire on tomorrow's live stream because I really want to find out more about this, this rating system, in the head, that kind of thing, based on talent and not the look. I Hey, it's all good. It is all good. We're having a good time here, and um, you know, I I think that might be the equivalent of like slowing down here, in terms of, you know, this live stream is coming to an end. Thank you guys so very much for participating and showing your support. All of you guys here. Damien, thank you so much. I know you're in the background. Thank you. I really appreciate you for being here. Thank all of you, Laura. Thank you. Earnings Empire, Sweetums. Let's see if I can list everybody here. Dragon Rider. Who am I forgetting? Sorry if I'm forgetting anybody. I'm trying to like rattle off. But he said it would rate his students' talents based on how well they arrange their flowers. Oh. All right. That I love that. That's a great way to end this live stream. That's a great way to end this. Thank you, Earnings Empire. Anytime you have a story like that in the future, just bring it on in, and we can add to the we can add to the live stream conversation. So, thank you for that. Thank you guys so much. So, I don't want to spend the next couple of minutes babbling. So, I just want to say thank you very much for everybody joining. I really appreciate it. Don't forget tomorrow's topic is online tutoring. So if you're able to make it in person, should be about the same time, give or take. Um, if you're able to make it in person, we'd love to have you. If not, please feel free to catch a replay if you'd like to. And everybody have a great night and be safe out there. Thank you guys again for joining. I really appreciate it. All right, everybody. Good night. Thank you again. We'll see you tomorrow. What is it? Day 14, online tutoring. All right. See you guys.